As the 63rd meeting of the National Council on Education Ministry commences in Abuja, the nation's capital, stakeholders say in achieving the goals of Education 2030 agenda, conscious efforts must be made to increasing funding on education in the country. Minister of Education Adamu Adamu, while declaring the session open, states that funding is the biggest challenge for the government. Correspondent Gloria Kiba has details.
Gathered here are stakeholders in the education sector comprising of Chief Executive Officers, FCT Secretary for Education, Commissioners of Education. Also in here are permanent secretaries from federal and state ministries of education, principals of federal unity schools, other stakeholders from the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. This is the highest policy-making body and the largest gathering of policymakers and technocrats in the education sector in Nigeria. They are here in line with the federal government's firm belief for an urgent need to overhaul the education sector in order to guarantee rapid socio-economic development. Minister of Education says the theme funding of education for achievements of Education 2030 agenda is pivotal to the achievement of other sustainable development goals and cannot be achieved without funding.
As you all know, the biggest challenge facing our educational growth and development at all levels is the issue of funding. And it is often wrongly believed to be the exclusive responsibility or preserve of the three tiers of government, the federal, state, and local governments. Actually, this impression is very wrong because, as we now say, education for all is the responsibility of all. And it will be the function of our meeting today and subsequently to define the responsibility of each sector.
The meeting will set the pace of growth in the education sector as it is a call for all stakeholders, both corporate, government, to be part of raising the standards of education in Nigeria.
Provisions of adequate funding for the achievement of Education 2030 agenda underscores the importance of education as a pivotal tool for rapid economic development and by extension actualizing the SDG 4, which is ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all.
The other important component is that of the implementation of decisions, not only of decisions of NEC, but even decisions at the state levels. The issue of funding, for quite often you find in many instances we have reasonable appropriations in our budgets. But when it comes to the issue of releases, that's where the greatest snag is. And you find that at the end of the year, there is very little achievement done because the cash flow does not match appropriation.
In 2017, the federal government committed 6% of its budget to education, which is far below the 26% United Nations benchmark. The question now is, what is the responsibility of the states, parents, multinational companies, among others, in their domain to bridge the gap and provide the education sector with a much-needed lifeline? Gloria Kiba, Core TV News, Abuja.